There are many who say that there is no scientific explanation for miracles or spiritual experiences. Some say you either believe in God or you don't. Either you have faith or you don't. Science cannot explain these things, but I think this is wrong. We can look at what science says about spiritual experiences to help us better understand our own experiences, even if we don't agree with every single detail of what science has to say. And that's what we're going to do today. I'm a neuroscientist and science communicator. I make videos about the brain and the body and sometimes the paranormal. And today we're going to be talking about how science explains miracles and spiritual experiences. So let's start off with what scientists mean when they talk about the paranormal. Scientists use the term paranormal to refer to things that are outside of normal experience, usually meaning things that go beyond the known laws of physics. This includes things like out-of-body experiences, seeing ghosts or spirits, having premonitions, being healed suddenly and miraculously. Now, while science doesn't necessarily try to prove or disprove the existence of these phenomena, it can attempt to explain them in terms of known physical processes. For example, seeing a ghost or a spirit might not be an interaction with the supernatural, but rather a hallucination triggered by a certain pattern of brain activity. A healing might not be due to divine intervention, but rather a spontaneous remission of symptoms in which the body's natural healing mechanisms are activated. But how can we tell whether something is really paranormal or if it can be explained in other ways? Well, first, it helps to consider the possibility that some paranormal claims may be based on misperceptions or misunderstandings. For example, apparitions which seem to appear at deathbeds are often later identified as family members or hospice workers who were actually present but not noticed at the time. Similarly, voices that seem to come from the dead could sometimes be attributed to auditory hallucinations, sleep paralysis, or even mental illness. And second, we should consider that some paranormal claims have been found to have natural explanations. Near-death experiences, for example, are now understood to be the result of changes in the brain during times of oxygen deprivation. Out-of-body experiences are thought to be caused by a disconnect between the brain and the body, possibly due to altered states of consciousness or neurological disorders. While these examples may seem to reduce the mystery surrounding paranormal claims, they also highlight the importance of critical thinking when it comes to these experiences. In fact, many scientists argue that critical thinking is essential for understanding any paranormal claims. This means carefully evaluating evidence, considering alternative explanations, and being open to the possibility that what we experience may not always be what we perceive it to be. Take, for example, the case of a woman named Pam, who I learned about while researching my book, Survival: How Science Can Help Us Live Longer, Better, and Maybe Even After We Die. Pam was a nurse who had a near-death experience after collapsing from a heart arrhythmia. When she was brought to the hospital, her husband and kids said goodbye to her thinking she was going to die. But when the doctor started chest compressions, she began moving her fingers and was eventually able to make a full recovery. Some people might hear this story and conclude that divine intervention saved her life, while others might attribute it to the skill of the medical professionals who were able to resuscitate her. However, when you ask Pam, she says that she doesn't know why she survived. And actually, science can't say for sure either. The human heart can sometimes beat even after someone dies, and so there isn't a clear line between life and death. While it is easy to look at the beginning and end of a life and say, this was clearly alive and this was clearly dead, there are moments in between where it's not so clear-cut, and this is one of those moments. Science can't answer everything, but it can offer insights into the world around us. It can help us understand the complexities of the human brain and body, as well as the laws of physics that govern our existence. By embracing science and critical thinking, we can approach paranormal claims with a healthy dose of skepticism, but also with an open mind. Who knows, we may just learn something new and unexpected along the way. For example, the placebo effect is a well-documented phenomenon in which a person's symptoms improve after taking a pill with no active ingredients. It is now understood to be the result of the power of suggestion and the brain's ability to influence bodily functions. This has led some researchers to suggest that the placebo effect may actually be a form of faith healing. And while this may sound far out, it's actually a very interesting idea. Think about it. Faith healing is a form of treatment that has been used for centuries by various religions and spiritual traditions. It is based on the belief that prayer and the laying on of hands can cure illness and heal the body. Now, faith in general is considered to be a psychological phenomenon, something that resides in the brain rather than being a result of supernatural forces. And the placebo effect is a well-documented example of the power of the mind over the body. It shows that our beliefs and expectations can have a profound impact on our health and well-being. Could it be possible that faith healing works in the same way as the placebo effect? That instead of divine intervention, it's the power of belief that leads to physical changes in the body? Of course, this is just speculation at this point. More research would need to be done to explore the link between faith healing and the placebo effect. But it's an interesting idea nonetheless. Another fascinating area of research is the study of altered states of consciousness. These are mental states that are different from our normal waking state, such as the dream state, or states reached through meditation, or the use of psychoactive substances. Many people who have had near-death experiences report similar features to their experience, such as out-of-body experiences, tunnels of light, and seeing deceased loved ones. Interestingly, similar experiences can be induced in a controlled setting by depriving the brain of oxygen or other essential nutrients. For example, in his book, Irreversible Brain Damage, neurologist Dr. Peter Sellers describes a case of a woman who experienced an out-of-body experience after being starved of oxygen. This suggests that such experiences may not be paranormal after all, but rather the result of changes in the brain state that can be triggered by various means. In fact, some researchers believe that these altered states of consciousness may be a key to understanding many paranormal phenomena. For example, out-of-body experiences are often accompanied by a profound sense of peace and calm, as well as a feeling of leaving the body behind. This can lead some people to believe that they have actually left their body and are floating above it, watching their surroundings from a detached perspective. However, neuroscientists have proposed a different explanation. They suggest that out-of-body experiences are actually the result of a disconnect between the brain and the body, possibly due to changes in brain activity or the release of certain chemicals. In other words, rather than being an actual separation of the soul from the body, it's simply a trick of the brain. These ideas may seem strange and unconventional, but they're worth considering. After all, science is all about questioning our perceptions and seeking out natural explanations for the world around us. Who knows? We may just find that what we once thought was paranormal can actually be explained by the amazing complexity of the human brain. The study of the paranormal is still in its infancy, and many questions remain unanswered. However, by embracing science and critical thinking, we can continue to unravel the mysteries of the universe and gain a deeper understanding of ourselves and our place in it. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to leave a thumbs up and share it with your friends and family. Thanks for watching.